Today we're going to learn about multiplying decimals with whole numbers. We're going to start by talking about a real-life example. The problem is Jared reads 16.5 pages, and 16.5 is the same as 16 and a half. 16.5 pages of his AR book each night. How many pages will he have read after 7 nights? Now in this problem, we know that our important numbers are 16.5 and 7. Some clue words that we need to know are each, and when they are asking for how many pages he has read, they're asking for the total. So we want to find the total number of pages he has read after 7 nights. Since we have each and total, that means we are going to multiply in our problem. So we know that we're going to multiply. Now we need to work on lining our problem up. We're going to put our number with the most digits first. So we're going to write 16.5 first. And since 7 only has one digit, we're going to write that next. And here's something that you need to remember. When you are multiplying with decimals, you do not need to line up the digits according to the decimal point and place value. So that's something important to write down. When multiplying decimals, do not line up numbers according to the place value. Everything needs to be lined up to the right. That means that when we write our problem, the 7 will not go below the 6. That's not what we're doing. The 7 will be pushed to the right and will be just below the 5, even though it's a whole number. So our problem is 16.5 times 7. Okay, so now we're going to work on solving our problem. And before we solve the exact problem, we're going to solve the estimate. So we're going to write estimate off to the side. $16.5 would round up to the nearest whole number of 17, because if we underlined the whole number, which is 6, and looked at the 5 would make the 6 go up to a 7. So that would be 17, and we're just going to, since 7 is a single digit number, we would just leave that the same. So if we solved our estimate, we would get 119. So our answer will be around 119. So let's go ahead and solve the exact problem now. We'll start by doing 5 times 7, which would give us 35. Then we'll do 6 times 7 and then plus 3. 6 times 7 is 42, and then plus 3 would give us 45. Regroup with the 4. And then finally we have 7 times 1, which is 7, and then plus 4, which is 11. Now, when we multiply a decimal with a whole number, all we need to do is look and see that where the decimal point is. In our decimal number, it's one place over. So that means in our final answer, we're just going to go one place over and put it where it belongs. So in this case, our answer is 115.5. And if you look at our estimate over here, which is 119, 115.5 is very close to 119, so we had a reasonable answer. So if we were to answer our question in a complete sentence that said, Jared reads 16.5 pages of his AR book each night, and how many pages will he have to read after 7 nights? Your answer would be that Jared will read 115 pages after 7 days or 7 nights. We're going to go ahead and try one more problem before we finish up. Marcy is buying Halloween candy and decided she wanted to buy lollipops. If each lollipop costs 35 cents, how much will she spend on 150 lollipops? So we're going to go ahead and underline the important information in this problem. Each lollipop costs 35 cents. and she's buying 150 of them. Since we're wanting to know the total that she will spend, we're going to be multiplying because we have our clue words each, and it's asking us to find the total amount of money. So the problem we're going to set up is 150 times 35 cents. And we can leave that 0 in there. We're not going to have to work with this 0 when we actually do our multiplication. We're just going to be working with the 3 and the 5 for the 35 cents, and our decimal point will also be important. Let's go ahead and start solving this problem by estimation. 35 cents, I'm not going to worry about rounding it to the nearest dollar because it's such a low amount. We're actually going to round it to the nearest 10 cents. So we would look at the 3, and the 5 tells the 3 to go up to a 4. So this 35 cents would be about 40 cents. And some people might want to round it up to 50 cents to the nearest half dollar, but we're just going to go for the most exact. So we're going to do 150 times 40 cents, and this is just to get our estimate. And 0, I can put this 0 here and move it down to there. We use our 0 rule, or our mental math, since we're multiplying by a multiple of 10. And we can do 4 times 0, which is 0. 4 times 5, which is 20. The 0 stays. The 2 gets regrouped. Then we would do 4 times 1, which is 4, and then plus 2 is 6. And we're going to look at our decimal number, which is right here. 150 times 40, the 40 cents has a decimal place that is 2 places over, so that is going to be about $60. So whenever we get our answer to our exact problem, we're going to put that it's going to be about $60. So let's go ahead and solve our exact one. 0 times 5 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25. Regroup the 2. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Now we put our 0 down to hold the place. We're done working in the ones, or in the furthest place to the right, so we're moving over to the tenths place. The 3 times 0 is 0. 5 times 3 is 15, and we're going to regroup the 1. We're done with this 2. 3 times 1 is 3, and then plus 1 is 4. So now we can go ahead and add. And notice, in this whole area, there are no decimal points. When you're multiplying and using decimal points, you do not put any in until the very end. So we have our one that we started with at the beginning. We're not going to do anything with that decimal point here at all. So we're going to go ahead and add. 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus 0 is 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. And 1 plus 4 is 5. Now, if I look over here at our estimate, we had $60 where the decimal point was after the first 0 in the ones place. I could use that to put my decimal point in our final answer. So I can see that the amount that would be close to 60 is $52.50. Or I could look up in the problem right here. We have no decimal points in our first factor, but in the second factor, we have one decimal point that is 2 places in. So that means in our final answer, I'm going to put the decimal point 2 places in. That means we're moving it over 2 places to the left, because in our factor with the decimal point was in there 2 places to the left. And it's reasonable because it's very close to our estimate of $60, because $52.50 is only $7.50 away. If we go back to our original question, we have Marcy is buying Halloween candy and decided she wanted to buy lollipops. If each lollipop costs 35 cents, how much will she spend on 150 lollipops? When we multiplied, we got that she will spend $52.50 on the 150 lollipops that she's going to buy. Once you finish these problems, I want you to work on the problems on your paper. You have 2 problems to solve, and they'll need to be turned in along with your notes for tomorrow's homework.